As we have seen that materialistic people, they are interested in development in avidya, whereas some noble souls, they want to develop on the front of vidya. But if somebody really wants to get the wonderful blessing of immortality, then he should know vidya also and avidya also, but he should only select vidya, and by practicing that he can transcend avidya and attain the blessing of immortality. So this we have already heard about. Now we will see what is the result of worshipping so-called my conception of Supreme, and that may not be the real concept of the Supreme. So we will see what results these people can attain. Anyadevahu sambhavat anyadahur asambhavat iti shushrumadhiranam yenastat vichachakshire. Anyad, different. Eva, certainly. Ahuhu, it is said. Sambhavat, by worshipping the Supreme Lord, the cause of all causes. Anyad, different. Ahuhu, it is said. Asambhavat, by worshipping what is not supreme. Iti, thus. Shushruma, I have heard it. Dhiranam, from the undisturbed authorities. Ye, O, Naha, unto us. Tat, about that subject matter. Vichachakshire, perfectly explained. Translation: it is said that one result is obtained by worshipping the supreme cause of all causes, Bhagavan, and that another result is obtained by worshipping what is not supreme. All this is heard from the undisturbed authorities who clearly explained it. Jnaninas Tattvadarshinaha, those who are the seers of the absolute truth. So in the matter of absolute truth, the source of all incarnations, which kind of hearing is approved and what is the source, right source to hear from? The system of hearing from undisturbed authorities, Dhiranam, is approved in this mantra. Unless one hears from a bona fide Acharya who is never disturbed by the changes of the material world, one cannot have the real key to the transcendental knowledge. The bona fide spiritual master, who has also heard the Shruti mantras or Vedic knowledge from his undisturbed Acharya, never presents anything that is not mentioned in the Vedic literature. Nowadays, there are so many so-called self-made Acharyas, but they don't speak the Shastras, and they are not seen following any Vedic tradition, and their activities are hardly anything spiritual. That's why they say nothing spiritual about it. So who is undisturbed? Generally people think that he will not have other desires, he will not speak something this like that, this kind of personality. But actually undisturbed means one who continues his mission, transcendental mission, in presence of all difficulties. That is for a big Acharya. But even for a normal devotee to be undisturbed, he has to continue his chanting and following four regular principles, despite all odds in his personal life. If somebody is able to do like that, then that person also can be called as undisturbed authority. In Bhagavad Gita, that's why it is said, Yanti deva vrata devan pitrani yanti pitrvataha bhutani yanti bhutecha yanti madhyajinopima. It is clearly indicated that those who worship the Pitris, they go to forefathers. and attain the planets of these Prithvis. And the gross materialist who make plan to remain here only in this material world and only on planet Earth, then these kind of people, they worship either Brahma or some other demigod and they will go to their planet. But if somebody worships the Supreme Lord Krishna, then he will naturally go to his planet, that is Goloka Vrindavan Dham. And that is in the spiritual sky, that is not in the material sky. So for the devotees, what problem can come not to reach that planet? The only problem continues till the point that devotees consistently chant the holy name. And if we continue chanting and hearing nicely, then the success is guaranteed. But the difficulty only comes because devotees hardly chant. They do a lot of drama. The bead bag is hanging whole day in their neck. But nobody knows when they actually chant. Chant as much as possible. And whenever there is opportunity, we should hear also. So here in Sri ISHOPANISHAD, it is verified that one achieves different result by different kind of worship or different mode of worship. If it is Sattvic worship, it will be different. If it is Rajasic, it will be different. And Tamasic will get different results. And even we worship the Supreme Lord, but in a Tamasic way, then the results will be a little different. And Rajasic way will stuck up in the material world. And Sattvic will go to higher planets. But by only performing devotional service to Supreme Lord Shri Krishna in Shuddha Sattva, in Prema Bhakti way, then we'll get the best result of attaining his lotus feet, which is beyond birth, old age, disease and death. And then we can attain his planet, wherein Yat Gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. By going to his planet, there is no coming back there. But then to realize this, we have to follow the principles as sincerely as possible and continue chanting and hearing very enthusiastically. That's why if somebody is a demigod worshipper, then he is naturally going towards the planet of that demigod. He should know it for certain. It's not otherwise. You worship sun god and you will go to moon planet, and you worship Soma and you will go to sun planet. It will not happen. That may happen with Indian trains, that you may take ticket of a particular place, and that because of rain or some difficulty, that train is en routed to the other place. We may land up in other place. But that doesn't happen in the cosmic administration. Whichever planet or whichever demigod one worships, he will surely land up on his planet only. That's why if somebody is not conscious about what he is worshipping, why he is worshipping, then he should be clear, whatever he is worshipping, he is surely going to land up to that particular god, to his planet. Now many people just want to be here or go to some demigod planet. Then Prabhupada says, if somebody just continues the wonderful ways of planning commissions, which were previously used for planning the budget, now they are abandoned, and so-called these stopgap political solutions, they don't work, because so-called Prajatantra, the governments are so unstable. Any moment the government crumbles and different party with different agenda, so all funny things come up. That's why there is a misnomer in the normal society. Yato mata tato patha. Whatever you think, that is your way, and you will go to the same destination whatever path you follow. But the authentic scriptures, they inform us that there is nothing like the principle that you worship whatever you like and you will go to one place. This is a foolish theory about the worship of self-made spiritual masters who confuse themselves. They are already confused, and their enthusiasm is to confuse everybody. their so-called followers, and they have no connection with a proper bona fide sampradaya, parampara, and that's why they are not themselves a good shishya, good follower, so they don't become a good teacher also. That's why it is said also, sampradaya vihina mantraha ste nishphala mataha. If you do not take a mantra from a bona fide sampradaya, then self-made, some funny mantras cannot help one to elevate in the path of self-realization. That's why here in the particular state we are in, there are 3 bogus people and everybody's name goes with a Ram Naam. But we can say like, इन तीनों के नाम में है राम, लेकिन तीनों के तीनों है haram. Because they have no connection with Lord Ram, and whatever theory they are propagating is all bakwas, all cheating. This is the problem. That's why we need a bona fide sampradaya, bona fide knowledge to learn and go ahead. If somebody takes to the philosophy of these cheating gurus and self-made acharyas, then it's always a risk going with them. So we have to be very careful, and we have to educate people what is the right understanding of acharya, what is understanding of sampradaya, what is understanding of mantra, which mantra can be accepted and which cannot be accepted, and what are the benefits of chanting the mantra. So these wonderful knowledge has to be propagated amongst the people who would like to know the wonderful benefits of practicing spirituality. That's why the right mantra with right guidance and right attitude is required. Because even while chanting the mantra, one should know what he exactly wants from that mantra. Because if one is not clear, then he will take a long time to understand the benefits of the particular mantra. So it's always good to understand the meaning of mantra and what kind of destination one is heading towards, that one should be very much clear about. Prabhupada again gives the example of train here. If a person purchases a ticket for Calcutta, then he has to go to Calcutta, not Bombay. So the train has to be selected properly. But these so-called spiritual masters, they say that any and all paths will take you to the one supreme goal. This is the cheating propensity. And these are Rakshasas who are misleading the noble public. They don't know anything, innocent people. And they are only baffled in their process of self-realization. Such mundane and compromising offers attract many foolish creatures who become puffed up with their manufactured methods of spiritual realization. The Vedic instructions, however, do not uphold them unless one has received knowledge from the bona fide acharya, who is in the recognized line of disciplic succession. One cannot have the real thing as it is. Krishna also tells to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakalineha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. The supreme science of Krishna consciousness was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in the course of time, the succession was broken because somehow the sampradaya didn't get the proper disciple. So there was some breakage. Nashtaha, the chain was broken. And that's why this science is now appears to be lost. Then Krishna said, now I am restarting the sampradaya from you, Arjun. And this knowledge was encapsulated by Srila Ved Vyasji in the Mahabharata Itihasa, and from there Ved Vyasji gave it to the different acharyas of 4 sampradayas, and from there it comes to us. So this is the way the sampradaya is. amazingly we can follow and take the best of the benefit. So when Lord Krishna was personally here on the planet in Dwapar Yuga doing his wonderful pastimes, these Bhakti Yoga principles were defined by his teachings of Bhagavad Gita, and now they appear to be distorted. Therefore the Lord personally established this disciplic succession, taking Arjuna as an Acharya, as the first Shishya of the new line. That's why Lord says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrita. When there is a breakage of transcendental knowledge, I personally come. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. The dharma of disciplic succession is reinstated, and Lord re-guides the humanity on the right path and saves people from these misleading Rakshasa preacher masters. And the qualification is also given that who will receive this transcendental knowledge from the Supreme Lord. Bhaktosi me sakha chaiti rahasyam hi hetuduttamo. That one has to make friendship with the Lord and he has to be a devotee of the Supreme Lord. Then Lord is ready to give this transcendental knowledge to anyone and everyone with this qualification. So Arjuna was befitting disciple because he had both the qualification and plus one. Anasuyave, he was not envious of the Lord because he was friend and devotee, and he was very much open to hear the glories of the Supreme Lord from his own mouth. So that is the openness of Arjuna, which make him a beneficial candidate for this transcendental knowledge. So we have to understand the transcendental source of this knowledge, anavrittita shabdat. By hearing this transcendental knowledge and doing avritti, repeating it again and again, will surely cut the cycle of rebirth. That is anavritti. The repetition will be stopped, shabdat, by hearing the transcendental sound coming from the Supreme Lord. This also means that only one who follows the path which is shown or heard by Arjuna, he can only understand the Bhagavad Gita. That's why Bhagavad Gita looks very simple if you become devotee. And if you are not a devotee, Gita remains mystery forever. It's just not possible to understand Bhagavad Gita as it is without becoming the devotee of the Supreme Lord. Krishna clearly says that only those who have lost their sense worship the demigods for paltry rewards, for temporary benefits which are not benefiting at all. That's why if you want eternal benefits, Shreyas, then we have to surrender to the Supreme Lord by surrendering to his devotee who can guide us on path back home, back to Godhead. Ultimately, the Supreme Lord advises that one should give up all other ways to find out God and surrender to him, and just surrender unto him. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. If we just surrender to the Supreme Lord, then our success is guaranteed. And surrender, we have to keep always surrendered. Every moment we should be rededicating, practicing, following the principles and doing the services with that spirit of seva. Only those who are cleansed of all the sinful reactions can have such unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord. Those who are completely cleansed from all the negativity that is coming from their bad karma, that is wiped out by the association of devotees, practicing Krishna consciousness by chanting, hearing and taking wonderful prasadam. So these propensities are completely eradicated. Then only a devotee who is completely free from all the anarthas, he receives Krishna prema, not otherwise. That's why the difficult situation comes when the anarthas, they pop up in the heart. So one has to deal with them, surrender to the Supreme Lord and get the wonderful help from the Supreme Lord who is inside the heart. Tesham atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. Lord is right there in our heart as Paramatma, and with the torchlight of knowledge that is also given in the Shastras, he eradicates the darkness of ignorance from the heart of his truthful devotees. Then it is very easy to progress on the path. But we don't follow, then we'll not get the result. That's why we have to follow the process as sincerely as possible. In this mantra of Shri ISHOPANISHAD, the word Sambhavat, by worship of the Supreme Cause of all causes, is very significant. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and everything that exists has emanated from Him only. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord also has said, Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante maam bodha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. That means He is source of everything. Everything emanates from me only. The wise who perfectly know this wonderful knowledge, then they engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So, how we have to worship? Dhyayanta upasate. While meditating on the Lord, we have to do His upasana. That's why it's highly recommended to think about the Supreme Lord while chanting His holy name. And if we cannot think, then we should just attentively hear the holy name. Here is a correct description of the Supreme Lord, given by the Lord Himself, because He is the best authority to explain who is He and how we can attain Him. The words Sarvasya Prabhavaha indicate that Krishna is the creator of everyone, including Lord Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. And because these three principal deities of the material world are created by the Lord is the creator of all that exists in the material and the spiritual worlds. In the Atharva Veda, Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.24, it is similarly said, He who exists before the creation of Brahma and who enlightened Brahma with the Vedic knowledge is Lord Krishna. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kave Mohyanti Yat Surya. Lord gave all transcendental knowledge to Lord Brahmaji in his heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya. So this is the Supreme Lord who reveals the knowledge to the first engineer of the world, Brahmaji. And from him, all other Prajapatis, they emanate and they do the same work of Brahmaji. Similarly, in Narayana Upanishad, it states, Then the Supreme Person Narayana desired to create all living beings. Thus from Narayana, Brahma was born. Narayana created the Prajapatis. Narayan created Indra. Narayan created 8 Vasus. Narayan created 11 Rudras. Narayan created 12 Adityas. Since Narayan is the plenary manifestation of Lord Krishna, Narayana and Krishna are one and the same. The identity of Narayana with the Supreme Cause has also been accepted and confirmed by Shripad Shankaracharya. What he says, Narayana para avyaktar, that Supreme Lord Narayana is beyond avyakta, the unmanifest. He is beyond Prakriti. So this is accepted by all the Acharyas, even though Lord Shankara, that is Shankaracharya, does not belong to Vaishnava Sampradaya or a personalistic line. The Atharva Veda, Maha Upanishad 1 also states, only Narayana existed in the beginning, when neither Brahma nor Shiva, nor fire nor water, nor stars nor sun, nor moon existed. The Lord does not remain alone, but creates as He desires. Eko Bahusya, the Lord is one and He expands to many incarnations and also Vibhinna Amshas as Jivas. So He expands all these wonderful creations to get more pleasure, to expand His happiness, Ananda. Krishna Himself states in Moksha Dharma, I created the Prajapatis and the Rudras. They do not have complete knowledge of me because they are covered by my illusory energy. it is also stated in Varaha Puran, Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and from him the four-headed Brahma was manifested, as well as Rudra, who later became omniscient. By worshipping the Supreme Lord, meditating on his lotus feet, Lord Shiva also became Sarvagya. He knows past, present and future, and he is one of the 12 Sakshis in this material world, who knows everything. Thus all the Vedic literatures, they confirm that Lord Narayana or Krishna is the cause of all causes. In the Brahma Samhita 5.1 also, it is said that the Supreme Lord is Shri Krishna, Govinda, the delighter of every living being and the primeval cause of all causes. The really learned persons know this from the evidence given by the great sages and the Vedas, and thus they decide to worship Lord Krishna as all in all. Such persons are called as Buddha, the people with good brain, Sumedasaha, because they worship only Krishna. That's why it is said, Jo Krishna bhaje, se bada chatur. One who worships Lord Krishna is very intelligent. The conviction that Krishna is all in all is established when one hears the transcendental message from the undisturbed Acharya, Dhiraha. That's why it is said, Dhiras tatra na muhyati. The Dhira is the undisturbed one, who is not even disturbed at the time of death, like Parikshit Maharaj. Even he was cursed to die by the bit of a snake called Takshaka within 7 days. Still he was not disturbed. He accepted it as a boon, that Lord Mukunda was so merciful on me. By that his own arrangement, I have got the opportunity to detach myself from all material affairs and completely surrender to his lotus feet. And by surrendering to his lotus feet, my success is guaranteed. So this is the wonderful conviction of Parikshit Maharaj. That's why he is Bhagavatottama, Mahabhagavata devotee of the Supreme Lord. Those who are faithless are described in the Bhagavad Gita. They don't have faith that Krishna is the Supreme. In 9:11 as Mudhas, fools or asses. It is said that the Mudhas deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they do not have complete knowledge from the Dhiras, the great Acharyas. One who is disturbed by the whirlpool of material energy is not qualified to become an Acharya. So, as we have seen, undisturbed means he has to continue the process of devotional service to perfect his consciousness and attain the Supreme Lord, with whatever odds they may come. One should not give up the process, he should be very enthusiastic and go ahead. Before hearing the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was disturbed by the material whirlpool, by his affection for his family and family members, society and community. Thus Arjuna wanted to become a philanthropist, non-violent man of the world, ahimsavadi. But when he came to his senses, became Buddha, intelligent one, by hearing from the Vedic knowledge, which was delivered in Bhagavad Gita by the Supreme Lord himself. Then he says, Nashto moha smritir labdhva tvat prasadat maya chutaha stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. All my doubts and ignorance and the darkness of ignorance is removed by your prasadat, your transcendental mercy. And now I am rightly situated in my transcendental knowledge, so I am ready to execute your will. I will do what you say. That is the wonderful conviction of Arjuna. Then, whatever was guided to Arjuna, he worshipped the Supreme Lord by the similar way of fighting with these so-called relatives. Actually, they were from the side of Adharma. So, the only relation was that you have to fight with them, not worship them. And what is the worship? That you send them to higher planets by killing them. and in this way he became a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. Such accomplishments are possible only when one worships the real Krishna and not some fabricated Krishna invented by foolish men who are without the knowledge of the intricacies of the science of Krishna described in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have to follow the version of Krishna also according to the Shastras, because Shastras are like mother. They can show us the real father, who is Lord Krishna. So we have to follow the version of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad to understand Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. According to Vedanta Sutra, Sambhuta is the source of birth and sustenance, as well as the reservoir that remains after annihilation. As we have studied, Janmadhyasya yatah anvayat itarasya chartheshu abhijnaswarat tene brahma hridaya adi kavaye muhyanti yat suraya tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo amrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhkam satyam param dhimahi. The Supreme Lord, from Him only, Janma Adi, all the material worlds, they manifest, they are sustained and they are annihilated. And He is before the creation, while the creation He is existing, and after the annihilation of the material world, He still exists. That's why He is the Supreme Lord, and from Him everything comes. He only maintains all the material worlds, and all the spiritual worlds He only sustains. This Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, also says in Bhagavad Gita 7:26 that He is fully conscious of past, present and future, and that no one, including demigods like Lord Shiva or Brahma, know Him fully. They can't know Him fully. Certainly, half-educated spiritual leaders who are disturbed by the tides of material existence cannot know Him fully. They try to make some compromise by making the mass of humanity the object of worship. Manava Seva. And they want to do poor Seva, Daridra Narayan Seva. So this is all bogus philosophy. Just to make oneself God, they are ready to do a lot of drama like this, serving the poor, serving the needy and all that. But they do not know that such worship is only a myth, because the masses are imperfect. They don't have knowledge, and they don't know what is the absolute truth. So it's very easy to mislead them. By misleading them, these people think that we are very great, but they don't know, in the eyes of the Supreme Lord, they are just cheaters, and they will be punished very terribly after their death. And even while living, they are always confused about what is the absolute truth. The natural process is to pour water on the root and not on the leaves. So, yatha taror moola nishechenena tripyanti tatskanda bhuja upashakha pranopaharasya yathendriyaram tathaiva sarvar hana achyuta ijja. That Lord Achyuta is the root of the universe, and if we apply the water on the root, that is devotional service unto the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, then all the branches, twigs, flowers and fruits, that is all the demigods, all the jivas, will be naturally satisfied. And how it happens is exactly like a tree. If we give it the water to the root, it goes to all corners of the tree, and we can get the best flowers, fruits from that tree. That's why these disturbed leaders, they are only attracted to the leaves and not the root, so they can't get the best result. Despite their perpetually watering the leaves, however, everything dries up for want of nourishment. If we just give some water to some leaves, then other leaves will be scanty of water and they will dry out. So it will become difficult even to sustain the tree. And that is what happens. If you don't worship the Supreme Lord, then the entire world will suffer. And this same picture we can see nowadays. Because the Supreme Lord is not worshipped, then we can see the situation of the world is a pathetic scene is created. Sri ISHOPANISHAD advises here that we should pour the water on the root, the source of all germination. Worship of the mass of humanity by rendering bodily service, which can never be perfect, is less important than service to the soul, Atma. The soul is the root that generates different types of bodies according to the law of karma to serve human beings by medical aid, social help, and educational facilities, while at the same time cutting the throats of poor animals in slaughterhouses, is no service at all to the soul, the living being. Because we are not this body, we are soul, which is spiritual in nature. That's why we have to do the right service for the soul, to connect it back to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Because to connect a billionaire's son to the billionaire is the best service we can do. The living being is perpetually suffering in different types of bodies from the material miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. The human form of life offers one a chance to get out of this entanglement simply by re-establishing the lost relationship, sambandha, between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. And the process is avideya, the devotional service, and attainment is prayojana, love of Godhead. Lord personally comes to teach this wonderful philosophy that how we can surrender unto His lotus feet. Satatam kirtayanto ma yatantasya dridhavrataha. That we have to do Satatam Kirtana. We have to constantly chant His holy name, glorify Him, and all the knowledge about Him is also given in the Vedic literatures. We have to just repeat it, hear it, practice it, and realize it. And this is the process. So Lord personally comes to initiate this process. That's why the Supreme Lord is called as Sambhuta. Real service to humanity is rendered when one teaches surrender to and worship of the Supreme Lord with full love and energy. And that is the instruction of Sri ISHOPANISHAD in this mantra. The simple way to worship the Supreme Lord in this age of disturbance, Kalahakal, Kalikal, of the arrogance and hypocrisy, is to hear and chant about His great activities. The mental speculators, however, think that the activities of the Supreme Lord are imaginary. Manushim tanum ashritam. They think the Lord is just a mortal being. Therefore, they refrain from hearing about the Supreme Lord and invent some word jugglery without any substance to divert the attention of the innocent masses of people. Instead of hearing the activities of the Supreme Lord Krishna, such pseudo spiritual masters advertise themselves by inducing their followers to sing about them. In Haridwar Kumbh Mela, I have seen some bogus babas and many of their so-called disciples. They only chant the glories of their master, but they don't chant any God's name and they don't have any understanding of the Supreme. So this is all cheating propensity everywhere. In modern times, the number of such pretenders has increased considerably, and it has become a problem for the pure devotees of the Lord to save the masses of people from unholy propaganda of these pretenders and pseudo incarnations. And every year we are hearing so many incarnations coming in the different states of India. The Upanishads indirectly draw our attention to the primeval Lord, Shri Krishna. They don't directly say much directly about the pastimes of the Lord, but they slowly take people from materialistic consciousness to Atma, the spiritual consciousness, and slowly to Bhagavan. That is the message of Upanishads. But Bhagavad Gita, which is the summary of Upanishads, directly points to Shri Krishna. It's directly telling about the Supreme Lord. Therefore, one should hear about Krishna as he is by hearing from the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this way, one's mind will gradually be cleansed of all the contaminated things. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:2-17 also says, by hearing the wonderful activities of the Supreme Lord, the devotee draws the attention of the Lord towards him. Thus the Lord, being situated in the heart of every living being, helps the devotee by giving him proper directions. And then, by the guidance of the Lord, one can go towards the lotus feet of the Lord for sure. Bhagavad Gita 10:10 also confirms this. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. I give the wonderful knowledge by which one can come towards me. He is personally guiding from within the heart. The Lord's inner direction cleanses the devotee's heart of all contamination. Vidunoti suritsata. One who is a sincere devotee, Lord enters in his heart. Pravishta karna randhrena. By the hole of ear, he goes inside the heart, he conquers the heart and removes all the contaminations from the heart, which are anarthas. They are coming from the passion and ignorance, these lower modes of material world. Non-devotees are under the sway of passion and ignorance. One who is in passion cannot become detached from the material hankering, and one who is in ignorance cannot know what he is or what the Lord is completely pramad, alasya, nidra. There is completely a deluding state where no knowledge can manifest. Thus, when one is in passion and ignorance, there is no chance of self-realization. That's why we have to come to the sattva guna, because sattvat sanjayate jnanam. Only in sattva guna the knowledge manifests. However, one may play the part of a religionist. He can do a lot of drama, but he can't get the realization of Atma or Paramatma or Bhagavan. He is cheating himself and cheating others. For a devotee, the modes of passion and ignorance are removed by the grace of the Lord. In this way, the devotee becomes situated in the quality of goodness. Sthitam sattve prasidati. The sign of a perfect Brahmana, that he is situated in sattva guna. So anyone can qualify as a Brahmana, not by birth, by guna and karma. Everybody can, if he follows the path of devotional service under the guidance of an undisturbed Acharya, Dhira. This is said in 2:4-18 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkashaha abhira shumbha yavana khasadayah yennecha papa yadapashraya shrayaha shuddhyanti tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha. Any low-born person of any Nimna Jati, lower caste or lower association, can be purified by the guidance of a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, for the Lord is extraordinarily powerful. When one attains the Brahmanical qualification of Sattva Guna, he naturally becomes happy and very enthusiastic to render devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Automatically, the science of Krishna consciousness is unveiled before him. As Dhruva was meditating in his heart, finding the Paramatma, Prishni Garbha, the Supreme Lord Narayana. So that Supreme Lord giving darshan from within the heart, and after a blink of second, he became aprakata, unmanifest, and Dhruva, becoming very disturbed, opened his eyes. And when he opened his eyes, he saw that same Supreme Lord within the heart now has manifested outside. So first we will see the Lord in the heart and we will see it outside us. So this is the great mercy, that this bhakti will reveal the Supreme Lord face to face. By knowing this transcendental science of Krishna consciousness, one gradually becomes freed from material attachments and one's doubtful mind becomes crystal clear by the grace of the Supreme Lord. One who attains this stage is a liberated soul and can see the Supreme Lord in every step of his life. Santaha sadaiva hridayoshu vilakayanti. That the Santa, the pure devotees, they will see the Lord everywhere all the time. And this is the perfection of Sambhava, as described in this mantra of Shri ISHOPANISHAD. So to know more about this Supreme Lord and different qualities as an expansion of this wonderful knowledge, we will see the next mantra, mantra 14, in our next session on coming Sunday. Hare Krishna.